Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Wednesday, June 22nd. It is 6:22 right now. The market's going to open in about 8 minutes. So I'll go ahead and set up this room real quick and we can get started with our session for this morning. Powell's going to be speaking shortly in about 8 minutes as well, guys. So I don't think I'm going to be looking to take any trades right now specifically. Just due to the fact that there's a lot of uncertainty when Powell speaks. Typically price does go up, but today I'm not sure if it's going to be, a smooth move, especially because we're going through a recession and all. It might not be a smooth move to the upside or a smooth move to the downside. So see where it goes from there. Almost done. Last thing here. And it looks like we're good to go. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. All right. It's good. All right, guys. Looks good. It's like people are still on the way in. So as people make their way in, I'm going to go ahead and mark liquidity up here on the 1 minute. There's a lot of liquidity on both sides. The thing that you guys want to be careful for is the volatility on open, since Powell's going to be speaking. Let's go down to the 30-minute. All right, that's good. So I pretty much got all the liquidity marked up here on the lower time frame. There's a lot of liquidity on both ends. So we might see price kind of spike in both directions when the market does open shortly. Since Powell is going to be speaking, he'll have good things to say and he'll have bad things to say. So we'll see where it goes from there. All right, so it's 6:26 right now. The market's going to open in about 4 minutes. I've got all the liquidity here marked up on the lower time frames. Let's see what else I'm missing here. All right, cool. Thanks for the links, guys. I saw you guys post the links for the let's see, Romeo's asking. So looks good. All right, so it's 628 right now. I think the overall bias is for a sell, but we'll take a look to confirm. Looking at retail sentiment, it's currently 68% long. So that's indicating that there's 68% of retail traders on the long side. So we'll be looking for sells here. Also looking at the fundamentals, they do align with the retail sentiment. So we're definitely looking for sells today. Our overall bias is a strong sell. But as I mentioned, Powell is going to be speaking shortly. And when he starts speaking, that can affect the market pretty heavily. So overall, I'll be looking for some sells, but I might just be careful, for time being, because Powell's going to pretty much push the market around with whatever he's going to be discussing, which will likely be the economy, interest rates, the recession, and so on. So I will be looking for trades, but I'm probably not going to be taking anything myself. I'll tell you guys if I do take something, and if I see something good, I'll mark it up for you guys. But for the most part, I think today's going to be a bit of a risky day. So, or a very risky day, actually. Powell's speaking right here at 6:30. And he'll probably be speaking for about an hour or 2 hours. So I mean, it just depends on how long he's talking for. Let's see, Kenny over here sent in his Fox Business News. He'll be starting shortly. So the market will be opening about 20 seconds. I'll mark up the breakout here. I'm not going to be taking the breakout though, guys. The market's just going to move. I'm pretty sure it's going to move pretty crazy on open. So I'm not going to be taking it. I will try to mark it up if and when I do see it. But, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be a bit risky. So I don't think I'm looking to take anything on any of my accounts personally. I don't want to take the risk because this can really go either way. So the market is now open, guys. Let's see who's here. Morning, Steven. Morning, Stern. Morning, David. Morning, Peter. Morning, Purity. Morning, Kenny. Morning, Lisa. Morning, Jez. Morning, Fahad. Morning, Akil. Morning, Marco. Yes, we do have liquidity sitting on both sides, guys. I think the market is, obviously you can see it's starting to push around. It's pushing up right now temporarily. I think this is a manipulated push to the upside because everything is pointing towards a sell. Looking over here at the heat map, let me refresh it. The heat map is all red. So there's like no reason for it to go up. So if we do get a breakout to the upside, which it might close right here, I really would not recommend taking it. We do have a bullish bias right now with regard to the momentum because of the momentum signal right here. So in order to take a sell, we need to have a sell signal that comes up. So this right here would technically be the breakout. If you guys can see here, not one that I would take, not one that I recommend anyone else take. I'll just mark it up for you guys so that you guys can see. This just fits the requirements. And that's why it satisfies the breakout entry. The one requirement that is not met here is going to be the second requirement, the optional bias. So the bias right now is for a sell. As you can see, price is pushing up for the breakout. This is the breakout. This technically looks like a straight up manipulated push right here though. So that's why I would be very careful about taking anything here specifically for any buys really, because, and you can see right here where it's rejecting from, and you can see that the breakout did hit its full TP, within a few seconds or so. So you can see price right here pretty much spiking up. I think Powell has started to speak, not yet, but there's no real reason for it to push up like that. The reason that the reason for that is because the fundamentals here are very bearish. They're down 300 points. Looking at the heat map right here, literally the entire stock index for US30 is completely red. And then the retail sentiment is currently 68% long. So this right here is obviously a manipulated push to the upside. I do expect it to come right back down. It's just going to be a matter of time before it comes back down. So I don't recommend anyone chase this here because you can easily get burnt if you do. So just FYI, if you guys do decide to chase any of these trades here, it's definitely not going to be, but there goes a breakout. Breakout would have been a full TP if you took it. I didn't take it. So it's not going to be counted, obviously, but it just goes to show that the strategy still works perfectly fine, even during, crazy market conditions like right now. But yeah, refreshing the stock index over here. Stock index is completely red for the most part. There's like a couple stocks here that are green, but they're like not even green by a point. They're green less than a point. So I don't think they're going to hold very much. I don't think Powell started speaking yet. Oh, so we just started. They're introducing everyone. So they're starting to cover basically Federal Chairman Powell is going to be testifying before the Senate Banking Committee regarding the Banking, Housing, Urban Affairs Committee for the semi-annual monetary policy report to Congress. So he'll be going over pretty much all their policies regarding interest rates, the recession, how they plan on tackling that. And that's going to affect the market. So as you guys can see right here, price is now making its way back down. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to mark up, let me just take off a couple of these things here. I'm going to mark up opening price. I don't think there was any other news this morning. There wasn't. It's just right now at 6:30. So I'm going to mark up opening price, which is right there. And then also opening price and news price are pretty much the same thing aligned. So we will leave that as is. But for now, I think this is pretty much it. You can see prices coming right back down. Our target price point is going to be right here, opening price. This is where I expect price to come back down to. Once it closes below here, then price may be shifting back to the downside. But this is going to be the current target specifically. Anything else here that I am missing? I believe so. So there we go. As price makes its way down. When price reaches this point right here, this blue line, one of two things are going to happen. Price is either going to bounce off it or it's going to break below and continue dropping lower. If it breaks below, we'll look for that retest and continuation to the downside. But this is pretty much what I see happening. I think this pattern here is going to play out more than the bounce, specifically because our bias here is still strong for a sell. Looking over here at the fundamentals, they're currently down 333 points. Looking at the heat map is basically completely red for the most part. Yeah, literally all red right here. And the sentiment here does align with it. So if you're looking for any sells here, I mean, that's probably gonna be the direction to trade it. However, I mean, price can really go anywhere at this point because with Powell speaking, he'll cause price to bounce, either direction. He hasn't even started speaking yet. Right now, currently it's Chairman Brown speaking, and he's basically just asking questions and going over the intro and discussing what they're going to be covering for today's speaking. So other than that, not really much else for us to follow along with here. I'm going to go ahead and mark up the liquidity to see if price, ends up coming around. I don't think there's any other news today either. It's just that. And for however long it ends up running. So let me go ahead and mark up a couple of things over here. All right, so you guys can see there's not really much of a clear direction. I'm going to go here to the clean chart and mark it up so that you guys can see it a bit better. But I mean, from my perspective, I just don't really see much. Turn on the K2 high-low indicator. Select markup structure for you guys here. But as you guys can see, this crazy movement right here is exactly why I was warning you guys not to trade. This morning, or like with Powell speaking in general, because it does cause a lot of uncertainty in the market. Like a lot of this stuff couldn't have really been anticipated. You really don't know what direction price is going. Overall price should be going down, but as you can see, there's no obvious clear direction. So 6:30, 7, 8. Now that I've drawn this up right here, you guys can see the obvious indecisiveness in direction of price. So market open right here at 6:30. This is where market open. Price pushed to the upside, came back down, pushed back up here to create another area of range. And now it's just pretty much going sideways. See if there's any sessions around here. Yeah, there goes the sessions. And you guys can see exactly where price is bouncing off. It's bouncing directly off the sessions. So this here is going to be the clean chart. Come back to it later. But I think right now, currently, there's not really much for us to take at the moment. We are technically looking for sells here because of the overall bias. It's just going to be a matter of time until price makes its way back down. But our target price area is going to be the opening price right here. Price has not come back down to chesty yet. So that's going to be the area where we'll be looking for. This could possibly be a V3 entry. Or no, actually, it wouldn't. Sorry. There's no pending signal for a sell. There's already one here. So unfortunately, we can't take this for a V3, even if it does close. Even if it did, I wouldn't take it because it's right at the sessions. That's going to be one of the red flags here. So variation V3, but one of the main red flags is to avoid entry when price is near sessions, which it's obviously really close to the sessions right here. Thanks, Mauricio. Yeah, Mauricio said Powell tells Congress the Fed is strongly committed to bringing inflation down. And the only way for them to do that is to raise interest rates. So with interest rates going up, it's not going to be good for the market. Peter mentioned on MyFX book, it shows more Fed members speaking later on today. Yeah, and I could see that too, because I don't see Powell being the only person speaking, right? I see like other members putting in their input. So for Chairman Brown here, he's still going over the introductions. He hasn't even started yet with the questioning for Powell. So I think when Powell does speak and he starts discussing possibility of inflation rates rising, which is inevitable, it's probably going to make its way back down. So there was technically a V1 here again, but also for the same thing, there's no requirement met for pending momentum. So either way, none of these entries here would satisfy because there is no pending momentum in the direction of our trade. So, I mean, it would have been nice to get a V1 there or a V3, but we can't get that until we have a pending momentum in our direction. So I'm just going to sit on my hands for the day so far until we have, any actual official entries. But right now, doesn't look like we're going to be getting anything anytime soon. Just turn this off right here, not to confuse you guys. The range is getting tighter though. So let's go here to the clean chart. I'm going to take some of this stuff off. But you guys can see that the range is getting tighter. Market opened right here. Price pushed up to a high, came down, created a low, and then now it's just ranging in between these sessions right here. So pretty much sideways movement. As price starts to squeeze more and more, it's likely to create a tighter range. So as price gets tighter and tighter, it's going to squeeze. And when it starts to squeeze this way, it's just preparing for a breakout. So when price starts to squeeze, you can expect price to break out to the upside or to the downside following that. It's just a matter of time until that happens. Right now, price is just bouncing around. Rick said I lied now, 3,200. Nice work, Rick. So Rick made about 3,200 for the day. Pretty solid for this crazy movement. I haven't taken any trades, so I don't have any profit to share. But looking at the other members here, Jay over here took a buy earlier for the breakout, took in a profit of 1,198. Nice work, Jay. If you guys have profit to send in, feel free to post them up. Let's see, Kenny over here took the breakout as well. He locked in a total profit of 2,191. Nice work, Kenny. His second account over here, he locked in a total profit of 3,210. Nice work, Kenny. So a lot of you guys here actually took the breakout, even though it was a risky one. I'm glad to see that you guys did profit off it. Al over here as well sent in his profits, took buys and sells. You can see his entry for the buy right here at 631 for the breakout, locked in a total profit of 1,347. Total profit of 1,457 for the day. So great work right there as well, Al. David over here too. David locked in a total profit of 48 for the day. Nice work, David. Slow and steady. Slow and steady will get you there. Kenny over here as well, 3,210. So great work, guys. If you guys have more profit to send in, feel free to post them up. Otherwise, we will continue looking for any possible entries, which, as you guys can see, price is just ranging between the high and low around this area, and it keeps returning to this area where these sessions are. This is going to be our clean chart. I'll go back to our markup chart right here. Price just broke this high. It's creating a new high. So I'll just push that up a little higher. PC is asking, do we have a buy snipe on the 10-minute? So I can already tell you no, because the buy snipe requires, let me check real quick. I'm just saying no from my experience, because there's no the requirements here for the snipe strategy. So for the first requirement, you want to confirm the overall bias. We're not looking for any bias here because the bias is for a sell. So that's what I was mentioning, that I could already say no because I already know what the bias is. But if you were skipping the first step, then yes, I mean, technically there would be a buy snipe. Actually, no, there wouldn't. So sorry. Here's a couple of reasons. So the reason why there's no buy snipe there, PC, is because one, there's no overall bias. And then for two, there's no direction of momentum there. So you need to confirm the K2 momentum indicator. There's no buy signal here, so you're not looking for any buys. There's a sell signal. So if you had a snipe for a sell, then yeah, that would satisfy, because it would be trading in the direction of overall bias, plus you'd be trading in the direction of momentum. There's no buy signal here. So either or, if you were to skip the first step, there still would be no entry here, since none of the requirements here are fully met. So no snipe there for the 10-minute. Yeah, no problem, PC. I could see, like, sometimes I do the same thing. I'll look for the rejections and I'm not looking for the momentum until after. And then you realize, like, oh crap, there was actually no entry at that point because there was no momentum. But yeah, no, good eye there to spot the snipe entries. Tony said V3 on the sessions. Yeah, it's right at the sessions here, unfortunately. So no V3 there at this point. Would have been nice too, though. Or I don't know, it's kind of risky right here. Specifically because it's at the sessions. That's the main reason. But yeah, if there was no sessions right here, technically that could have been a V3. But since it's right at the sessions, That's like our number one red flag and time when not to trade. Price near sessions. Yeah, same here, Maddie. Yeah, Maddie said waiting for price to break. Don't want to trade right now. Price is just in the middle, stopping out retail. I agree, Maddie. Price is just going back and forth between this range right here. And this range is not a small range. It's a pretty big range. So unless you have a really, really big stop loss, I mean, you can get wrecked in this point. So just measuring the price movement between this high and this low, it's 1,333 pips or 1,330 pips. So depending on how wide your stop loss is, you can easily get wrecked right here. Because if your stop loss is say 300 pips, a quick reversal or a quick pullback can easily stop you out in either direction. So if you chase this for a buy and it pulls back down, you get stopped out. You chase it for a sell, it pulls back and stops you out again. So it's not really worth the risk, guys, in my perspective personally. I just don't see it being worthwhile because it's right at the session. So it's not even a good area to be trading to begin with. But yeah, I mean, we'll see where it goes from here. You can see price keeps coming back down and rejects directly off the sessions. This is why you don't want to trade where the sessions are, because you get a lot of manipulation. Price will either bounce off it or break right through it. So you kind of get a 50% chance when you're trading around those points. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm just sitting on my hands waiting for my key price point is going to be below here. If price drops below opening price, then I think at that point for sure, price will continue dropping further. But with Powell speaking right now, I mean, Powell still hasn't even started speaking, guys. It's still the board speaking. So Fed Chair Brown was just speaking. Now Mr. Tillis is speaking. But overall, there's not really much for us to take away from this. And hopefully you guys are sitting out of the market. I can see a lot of accounts getting blown right now for people who are trying to cash the top. So what I can see right here is I can see a lot of people, and I only know this from experience, I can see a lot of people trying to catch the top here. They're trying to take sells, which I mean, technically, yeah, if you're getting lucky when you catch these spikes back to the downside, you can maybe catch 100 pips or so. But if you're unlucky, price will just keep pushing up and stopping people out. It's a mess because let's see. So from down here, price is pushed up about nearly 1,000 pips. So yeah, definitely a bit of a mess right there. Price is now back into the sessions area. Let's see where it goes from here. Peter's on the YouTube next to volume, click live. Oh gosh, okay. Thanks, Peter. So Powell is actually speaking right now. Yeah, Denzel said, he says the economy is very strong and could handle tighter policy. Yeah, which is not going to be good for the economy. So, the tighter the policy, the worse it is for the economy, or not really the economy in general, but for overall growth, because more policy just means higher interest rates and, a bigger crackdown on the rich, which the rich are not going to like. Yeah, in general, it's just, I mean, either way, guys, overall, I think, with the recession coming, I think price overall is not going to be holding very strong for a buy here. I think that price is going to keep dropping even further. Looking over here at let's just review the sentiment. Sentiment is still at 67% long. So we're still looking for sells here with regard to retail sentiment. Looking over here at the fundamentals are currently down 285 points. So we're still looking for sells here as well. Lastly, just looking at the heat map real quick. Majority of the stocks here within the US30 stock index are pretty much for the most part red. There's a couple of green stocks here. Walmart, which is up less than a point. Procter & Gamble, which is up less than a point, and Johnson & Johnson, which is up less than a point. Pretty much not even worth noting because it's not even a point. There's a couple stocks here that are gaining traction though. United Health is gaining traction. It's up 4 points. Merck and Co is up 1 point. Everything else is less than a point. So basically, there's like the entire stock index. There's 28 stocks that are technically red, and 2 stocks that are somewhat green. 1 stock that's really green, but not enough to overhaul the entire index. So we will keep an eye on it. Rick said, ain't no way they're going to hurt the elite class. LOL, we're the ones who are. Yeah, no, exactly. The interest rates don't really affect the rich very much because they have cash on hand. It's going to affect the retail consumer because it's going to cost more to buy a house. It's going to cost more to buy a home because you're not going to be able to finance. Interest rates are going to be crazy high. Basically just like the mortgage space, guys. It's crazy. I've been like, talking to a lot of people at the gym who are in the mortgage space, and the mortgage space is just crazy. Like everyone is struggling, and it's just going to keep getting worse. Other than that, here we go. As price pushes up higher, I don't recommend anyone chase this buy, guys. If you guys chase the buy, I can expect it to come back down at some point. It's just going to be a matter of time before it comes back down. Professors mentioned there was a V3. Oh yeah, there's no V3 right now. There probably was at the time before it started spiking all crazy, but it is pushing up slightly right now. Seth is asking EJ K2 intraday 1 hour time frame. Let me check. Yeah, so this would technically be a intraday entry, Seth, but I don't think I would take it right now because there's high impact US news going on specifically. But yes, if you're looking to take the entry here, I think the sentiment is pretty high too. Yeah, 70% short. So yeah, technically this would be the intraday entry if you wanted to take it. But I think it's a bit risky right now because there is medium impact news coming up shortly. I don't take trades when there's news coming up right then and there because you might get some manipulation. So looking at this right here, there's news like literally on the opening candle, which I don't recommend taking. There's also later on, if you're holding on to this for too long, there is more medium news over here as well later today. So I'm just going to mark up these lines to show you where news is. So I personally wouldn't take that. There's just a lot of news coming up in the next couple hours. So just keep that in mind. I mean, I'll mark it up and I can follow it with you, but if I'm going to enter it, I'm probably going to enter it later. I'll wait for this news to pass. Price will probably come down and retrace, and then I can get in for a discount somewhere around this area. And I'll just write it up from there. Sam says he doesn't see EJ. So EJ is right here. Sam, it's right below. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6-1 right here. Here, JPY. It's currently 70% short. Refresh that real quick. Yeah, it's right there. It's a 6-1 down. All right, anyways, back to US30. Yeah, US30 is pushing up kind of crazy right now. But again, guys, I don't recommend anyone chase that. Let me go ahead and mark up the liquidity here on the 10-minute. I think this will, I'll go from the daily and make my way down so that we can kind of identify where the liquidity is sitting. yeah, we do have a bit of a crazy market. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I can help you guys with whatever you guys need help with right now. Since I'm not necessarily looking for anything to trade at the moment, at least until the market is, kind of stabilized a bit. It's definitely not stabilized right now. As price is still moving kind of crazy. Yeah, if you guys do have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I can go over whatever you guys want me to cover for now, at least until we have some sort of entries available, which we don't right now. So I'm going to mark up the liquidity here on the 10. This is the 2 hour. 1 hour. Oh, 30-minute. 15-minute. $10-minute. I think we're good. So there goes all of the areas of liquidity here on the 10-minute. As you guys can see, there's a lot of liquidity sitting on the bottom side that has not been hit yet. You can see price is starting to reject off this candle right here. When this candle here closes, this could be setting up for a V3. One thing that you want to be careful for, though, is going to be these sessions right here. But as you can see, if this closes, which it's going to close as a green candle, the next candle, if it closes as a red candle, it will technically be a V3. So just something to keep in mind. Rick said Biden speaks today at 11. Yeah, I know. Or I don't know, but I could see him speaking right after Powell. He typically does. I don't know if it's just to balance out what Powell says and whatnot. Not that it's useful at all, but yeah, I don't see it on the list here, but he typically does speak later. So we have Fed Chair Evans speaking later today, Fed Chair Harker, and Fed Chair Barkin. So we have pretty much today is just a Fed day, like it was last month. Going back over to the EJ trade that you guys are referring to, it did not close with the buy signal, so no entry off that there. So no entry off EJ. And there's a couple here that I was looking at as well. Odd NZD, odd USD, NZD USD, USD JPY. Yeah, there isn't anything for us to take here on the forex side either. Looks like the market kind of died down a bit. Here's the oh man, there was a V3 here off the 1 minute. I totally missed it. Yeah, that would have been good too. So I don't know if anyone caught this V3 here, but there was a V3 here off the 1 minute. It went straight to TP. Yeah, what a solid trade. So this is what I'd be looking for. I'll be looking for any of these V3s or variations that come down from where this top end is. But this was a V3, a confirmed overall bias. We have a sell bias. Looking over at retail sentiment, it's currently 66% short. Fundamentals are down 285 points. Heat map is completely red for the most part. You can see right here, most of these stocks are red. And right here, we do have an entry. So overall bias here was for a sell. We had a high right here. The high was a green candle. Following candle was a red candle. There was a pending momentum in the direction because there was no sell signal. And the entry would have happened right there. At minimum stop loss of 300 pips. Could have been pushed back a little bit. And this would have been a valid V3 entry. So other than that, I didn't take it, but if you guys caught it, great work. Looks like Kenny over here might have caught it. Kenny's total profit for the day is 4,050. Nice work, Kenny. Rick over here, yeah, nice work, Rick. Rick with the killer trades today. All wins, no losses. Total profit of 3,292. Great work on that account, Rick. And then Kenny over here currently up 4,150. Killing it today, Kenny. Other than that, let's see. All right. So 1 second, guys. There's nothing here to take at the moment. So let me see if there's anything else here that I am missing. There's just nothing here on the 1 minute or in general for US30. There's nothing for the forex pairs over here either. Going over here to the 10 minute, we do have the V3 that is pending right here. We'll see if this closes. We need a minimum stop loss of about yeah, it should be able to meet there because it's about 950 pips. Yeah, Rick said it's right at yesterday's open. Yeah, I can see that. One second, guys. Sorry, guys, I'm doing some back office stuff right now. Just real quick, I need to answer a couple of questions before we move forward. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. There's not really much for us to take right now anyway, so you're not really missing out on anything. Market's just moving all over the place right now. All right, looks good. All right, so I don't see anything for us to take right now at the moment. We do have this pending V3 off the 10-minute. The one thing that you want to be careful for is that it's going to have to cut into these sessions right here. So if you do decide to take this V3 here, you might want to pull out before it reaches the sessions down there for obvious reasons. You don't want it to bounce off before hitting your TP. Because price will technically, well, I mean, not technically, it'll probably come down to the sessions right here. And then one of two things will happen. It'll either bounce off or it'll break right through. So we'll keep an eye on this. We still have 2 minutes and 42 seconds until this candle closes. We're not sure if it's going to close yet with this red candle. It needs to close as a red candle in order for it to satisfy the requirements. But for now, we'll come back and take a look at that. Going back to the 1 minute over here, there's not really much for us to take here at the moment. There's no pending momentum in the direction. So either way, there wouldn't be anything for us to take at the moment. You can see prices now starting to range. Right down here, which looks about right. Just up a little higher. All right, perfect. We want this buy signal to come up. So if this buy signal comes up, then we'll have a pending sell. We can start looking for any of these variations. But see, Matty said didn't give him full TP, even though he got his 10 points. Profits. I'm glad you got out of that, Matty, because price did swing back up right here. I'm assuming you took it for a sell. Let's see. Gosh, yeah, Matty took the V3 up top. So that's solid. I'll be looking for any possible V3 to come up over here, which might be coming up. This 10-minute here doesn't look like it's going to close with the red candle, so it doesn't look like we're going to have a V3 there at all. Now, what a wacky market today, huh? Price is kind of just going back and forth a lot. Powell's currently speaking. There's no clear direction as we follow. I was hoping Powell would push price one way or the other, like just push price up or just push price down. But price is really going both ways. It's not really going one direction at all. So here's a clean chart. I'm going to go and clean this up a little more. So yeah, looking at current price right here, you can see from open price was bullish. Then on the new hour right here at 7 o'clock, price dropped down a little bit. Now it's just ranging. So now price is currently just going sideways down this area right here. There was no 10-minute V3. Candle did not close red, so no V3 off that. Back to the 1 minute over here. There just isn't anything for us to take. So we'll keep looking. I think for the remainder of Powell speaking, I don't think there's going to be any good trades because you're probably going to get a lot of this back and forth movement. You're going to be surprised if price comes back down, bounces back up, comes back down. It's just a big range. There's no clear direction. But I think after, that's where the real direction will happen. Because right now, price is just being manipulated. Whenever they talk about something good for the economy or something bad, price will bounce up and down. Senator Warren is now asking questions. She's probably going to drill down on a lot of stuff right now, which is going to cause some volatility in the market. But I think once Powell is done speaking, price will choose its direction. It's going to choose its actual direction, which in my perspective is down here. So I'm basically just waiting for this drop to happen. The only problem with this here is that when Powell is done speaking, we have other Fed members speaking as well. So as soon as Powell is done, we still have Fed Evans speaking at 9:50. We have Fed Harker speaking at 10:30, and Fed Barkin speaking at 10:30 as well. So even though Powell is done speaking, we're gonna have other Fed chairs speaking. It's just not going to help with the direction of price. All right, so question from PC. PC is asking, how do you set up alerts for the 1 minute retail sentiment strategy when we have a momentum signal fired? I reviewed your video and now it seems I have a signal firing when signal moves from red to green and green to red, but not when so PC, I don't that's how the indicator works. So PC, you're asking like you get signals when let me reread it. So let's see, PC said by signal I mean candle, sorry. So You're trying to set up an alert for the 1 hour retail sentiment strategy. So if you want to set up an alert for the 1 hour, because that's how the indicator works. So you do get signals whenever the momentum signal comes up, right? So if it's green, you're going to get a signal if it turned red because it only goes from green to red, red to green. It doesn't go from green to green or red to red. It's the opposite. So you have a momentum swing to the upside, momentum swing to the downside. If you want to set up an alert for the 1 hour, you have to open up your chart for whatever pair you're looking for. So say, for example, you want an alert for US30. You need to go on the 1 hour time frame. Once you have the 1 hour time frame set up right here, you'll go to alert, go to K2 momentum, and then set this to signal fired. Is that what you're looking for? Because if you do signal fired, this will help with, well, it won't help, but it'll notify you whenever you get a buy or a sell, not just one or the other. So is that what you're referring to, PC? Sorry, I'm just kind of confused with your question there. Yeah. So does that answer your question, or is there still something else that you need help with, PC? Because you can only set signals for the momentum. You can't set it for any other strategy. You need to create a different script for that. So trying to, so if you can tell me like what is it that, because it says it does not seem to fire correctly. So what's the issue? I can help you troubleshoot if there's like something that, like, how is it not firing correctly? Because everything here is set in your settings. So, I mean, you must have something here that's not set properly. If you have it set like this is the options here. This is probably what you have not proper. Once per bar close, once per minute. You probably have one of these set, but it's not the one that you're looking for. If you can let me know like how and why it's not. Oh, gotcha. Okay. So I see exactly what you mean. So PC is asking, I get alerts, but when I look at the chart, there's no momentum signal. So Justin said, set it to once per bar close. That's exactly the problem there, because you have it set to once per bar. If you have this, it's not going to send you a notification if it's closed. It's only going to send you a notification if it pops up. So that's why you have it set to that, and it's going to come up, but it'll disappear. You can see that the signals do disappear. They don't actually close. If you want it to be alerted when it actually closes, then you set it to once per bar close, this one right here. So it's only going to notify you if it actually closes with the signal. That's how you would set it up. All right, let me see if there's anything else here. Yeah, no problem, PC. No worries. I had the same issue when I first set up the indicator as well. I didn't know how to set it up once I first created it, but it's a common issue a lot of people have. Because you probably did the same thing, Randy. You probably don't have the same alert set up there. You have to set it to K2 momentum, set it to signal fired, set it to once per bar close, and you can just update it here. So US30 momentum signal, 1 minute, something like that. That's how you would set it up. It's because you guys didn't have the settings set properly. If you have it set once per bar, it's going to give you, it'll show you right here. It says alert will trigger every time condition is met, but not more than one time per bar. So if you have it set to here, it's going to give you a signal. It's going to give you a notification even if it hasn't closed. But if you have it set to here, it's only going to give it to you if it closes with the signal. So, all right, guys, nothing else here for the for US30 on the 1 minute. Going over here to the 10 minute. I don't think I'd consider this liquidity. It's too far off. The price is pushing up a bit higher. So still nothing here off the 10. Nothing here off UJ, EJ. See if there's any other forex pairs for us to look at here. I like taking these forex trades because you can just take them and then just let them run. I don't really adjust the stop loss at all. I just let them be. GU. GU for a sell. Doesn't look like we'll be getting one anytime soon. So the market in general, I just don't see anything yet. There's nothing here on the forex pairs for us to take. There's nothing here off US30. Price is now rejecting off the sessions here on the 10-minute. Price might be tumbling back down at some point, but I think while Powell speaks, I don't really expect much to from over here. Let's see. And this thing pushed up a lot. I think this is just propping up until it drops later. Eventually, I think it's going to come back down for the for the obvious reasons. But all right, so here's the turning point. Price is currently at these sessions right here. One of two things will happen. Whenever price reaches the sessions right here, price will either come back down or it'll continue pushing up. A question from Peter. Peter is asking, will you stop looking for trades in 40 minutes from now, regardless of what's happening? Yeah, well, when it hits 8 o'clock, I'm gonna be off the live session. So yeah, 40 minutes from now, I'll still be looking from now until then, but for the most part, I don't think there's gonna be anything for us to take, Peter. The main thing here is that we have, like, Powell is speaking right now, but right after Powell is done, we have the other Fed chair speaking. So it wouldn't really matter because once he's done speaking, we have news right here at 8:30, and then we have Fed Evans speaking at 9:50, and then Harker speaking right after. So Powell might be speaking for like a while. He doesn't look like he's almost done. He might be speaking for like another hour or so. So if he's speaking for another hour, it's going to cut into the other speakers over here. So realistically, I don't think price is really going to move smoothly until they're all done speaking. So thanks, Sam, for confirming that. Sam confirmed that the fundamentals are now green. Yeah, slightly. It's up 26 points. As soon as it swings down, though, this will just turn right back into red. So it looks like liquidity can be built up right here. This is a really risky area to trade, though. I don't recommend anyone taking buys because you guys can see how far it's overextended. Price has been overextended about, let's measure it. It's been overextended about 4,910 pips. It's a lot of pips, almost 5,000 pips. So that's a pretty big push. So that's just from like here, from like pre-market. If you measure it from market open today, it's up over 4,000 pips. So it's going to have a pretty big tumble back down. This push to the upside can only last for so long, unless like the economy is like suddenly out of a recession, which obviously it's not. That's why I do expect it to come back down. I don't see the economy really recovering anytime soon. I mean, we haven't even officially entered the recession yet. We're slowly inching into the recession, but I can't see what Powell could be saying that would be pushing price up, aside from the manipulation that typically happens when Powell speaks. I mean, you guys have seen the memes before. I can even just look them up. Let's see. So I've showed you guys this before. So this is the one that always cracks me up because it says, sees a red candle, Jerome Powell speaks, let's stimulate it. And he pushes it all the way up because Powell typically pushes price up. That was before before we were in a recession, like during COVID and during like anything prior to us making our way into this recession, price would just go up whenever he spoke. That's why I kind of see this as a manipulated push to the upside, because I feel like a lot of retail traders are just buying because Powell is speaking. But eventually, when he's done speaking, price is going to correct back down, because this is just way too big of a push to the upside. Or price is technically supposed to would be around this area right here. So that's why I do see a correction back down here, because this is where price is supposed to be. Powell started speaking here from 6:30 until now at 7:30. So he's been speaking for about an hour. Ever since he's started speaking, price has just been pushing straight up. But I do see it, obviously coming back down. So I don't recommend people chase these buys here. I know there's like a high area of liquidity right here, but I wouldn't recommend chasing it. It's just not worth the risk. See if there's anything else here that I'm missing. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, there's nothing really for us to take. So if you guys have any questions, if you guys want me to cover anything, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Since there's nothing for us to take right now, I can cover whatever you guys need help with. If you guys have questions about a strategy, if you have questions about applying anything here, any confluences, anything that you guys have any trouble with, just feel free to pop your questions in the chat and I can answer whatever questions you guys have. Otherwise, we'll keep looking for the drop to happen. I don't know how soon it'll happen or how late it'll happen. It's just gonna be a matter of time, but I do think it's gonna drop maybe once Powell is done speaking. These memes here are those throw me off, especially for Powell's. Like this one, he's like print. The money machine burr. Other than that, let's see, he's still speaking here, so I don't expect it to have any change anytime soon. Yeah, PC said hopefully a V3 comes up. That's our best bet for now, and I agree too. Either any of the variations really, but you can see that price it's super overextended. Let me check sentiment to see if people have pulled out. So the sentiment here is starting to shift a little bit. It looks like a lot of people here who are on the long side are pulling out because they do recognize that it is super overextended right now. So maybe a good time for a lot of people to pull out. Looking over here at the 1 minute, or not really the 1 minute, but the clean chart. Let's update this a bit. Guys, one thing that I started to notice with the liquidity pushes is I've noticed that the 15-minute is a good time frame to catch like the bigger pushes. Well, let me just show you guys an example for that. And whenever I get new ideas, I always, I let you guys know and I show you guys what I mean by that. But let me just show you an example over here. So I'm just going to mark up the liquidity that we have over here. This is just a trade that I was kind of looking at. And anticipating to take for the most part. So because I was looking at this yesterday and I was thinking like, hey, I should have taken this trade. So just drawing up liquidity right here. Basically, when you have, so I wouldn't have taken that over there. So this is a bit of a riskier way to trade it. It's just, I would probably do it with a really smaller lot size. Yeah, Kevin over here said as well, he said, I use higher time frames for liquidity pushes. That's how I catch the bigger moves. Yeah, and I started to note, well, I knew it, but I I started to really notice it here. Like if you could use a smaller lot size, or I mean, you don't have to go that far. You can probably just put it somewhere like around here, just to have a wide enough range. You can pretty much ride this down to like the next level, or you can do a one-to-one. So like, for example, right here, if you're taking this liquidity push right here, and you're going for like 100 or 1,200 pips, if you were to catch that as price hit liquidity right here. So typically I would set like a sell stop there, just let it run. Right there, price was filled, kind of go sideways for a bit. But eventually it does drop to the next level right there. So it's a huge push right there. It's 1,200 pip move. I was actually trying to catch it again right here. So like this morning when I got up, I was like, okay, I'm going to set a sell stop right here. But price never came down to fill it because I was trying to catch it at this point. I wanted to take a sell right here and pretty much write it down to, yeah, this point right here, basically 1,300 pips. It just never came back down to that point. So I started to notice that if you guys want to apply, well, I mean, this is something that you guys should play around with because I'm playing around with it as well. It goes both ways. So again, right here, let me show you guys another one. That actually is pretty solid over here as well. So if I go back over here and play it from to this point right here. So we have liquidity right there marked up, right? There's these areas of liquidity. I would set a buy entry like right there, and then pretty much ride it up to this next level here. It should be about 750 pips. So for example, right there, I pretty much ride the liquidity from this lower end up to the higher end of liquidity. So right there, price would have been filled. It would have been some drawdown, of course. Pushes up, hits full TP right there. So this is something that I kind of noticed. I might play around with this and take it on a smaller, like a smaller lot size and just let it like set and forget it basically, to just basically build that trade psychology to trust it. Because I typically don't like trading US30 on these higher time frames because it's such a, it's such a risky asset to trade, but it does work. So like, for example, again, right here, here is another one. And you're lining up these areas of liquidity. So again, right here, if I was to take a sell at this point, I mean, technically maybe I can write it down lower, but I'd probably just write it down here for like 1,000 pips or so. And you can see these are way bigger moves compared to the 100 pips. We're moving from 100 pips to 1,000 pips. So again, right here, price comes down, hits it, and goes straight to TP. I don't know if this would have hit TP or stop loss. I don't even know what happened at this point, why it drove so crazy. But here's another kind of example here. That's probably not a good example because it breaks right through it. There's actually a better one right here. And you guys can back test this yourself. Just go back to like whatever time frame and just mark up liquidity. Just so that you guys have an idea. So like, again, right here, same thing. When price was to push up to this point, take a buy from there. Maybe ride it up to this point right here, 210. So price hasn't filled it yet. It's now filled. And then it pushes up right there. So it's a pretty solid strategy. And if you're riding these liquidity pushes, another thing you can add to it would be the momentum signals. So as you guys can see, it does help out a lot when using this here, but something for you guys to play around if you guys want to check it out. I'm going to be playing around with it as well on the 15-minute. So let's see. Yeah, Kevin said I write it to liquidity and take profit. I wait for retracement and get back in again as long as price has confirmed its direction. I do this all day, every day, all over again. Yeah, no, and I can see that, Kevin, and that's why I started to use that as well, just to have like areas or targets to aim for the most part. Yeah, he rides it to liquidity, takes profit, waits for retracement, gets back in again. Yeah, and that's why sometimes I'll leave the liquidity up for a bit, especially if it hasn't hit that point. So every time it retraces back, just wait for it for reentry. And then you're like almost guaranteed to hit at least 200 pips, like almost every time. Yeah, exactly. Kevin said, yeah, as long as price has confirmed its direction, I don't have to, because I wait for the big pushes in price, then I ride it back in the opposite direction. Yeah, so Kevin here actually rides it both ways. And you guys are familiar with Kevin's profits. Like these are his profits for the day so far. Right, up 7,966. Basically, he knew that there was a strong sell bias. So basically, whenever price hit liquidity or price pushed in whatever direction, he took sells here, and they pretty much just stacked up. So, yeah, exactly, Maddie. But other than that, I think that's about it for the most part, right? Yep, Patricia said, gotta love Powell. Yeah, Powell is definitely pushing price up. I don't know what they're talking about because I have it muted, but I mean, we can only imagine what they're discussing. But I'm surprised to push up this high. It just doesn't really make sense for us to push up this high because we're not really expecting the economy to recover yet. It's just whatever policies and decisions he's planning on taking, which is pushing price up. And it's kind of crazy how far it's pushed up, actually. Yeah, C6 said JPow just made the questioner sound dumb AF and it pushed it up. Yeah, which I could see. I mean, Powell's a smart guy, right? He's always optimistic and looking for the good of the economy. But I'm surprised that it really pushed up this high. Nice. Steven said he passed phase one. Congrats, Steven. For the, yeah, no, I was like, well, what trade did he take? He said, just kidding. Yeah, no. I was wondering, like, when Steven said he passed, what trade did he take? There's no trade to take right now. And Steven got us good right there. Steven got us good with the Steven's favorite horn. Maddie's, I don't know who jokes about passing. Yeah, there goes Steven. There goes your horn for your pass that's about to happen. Hasn't happened yet, but eventually. I know we haven't used the horn in a while. Maybe for the next coming trades, we'll start using it again. Kip said the daily entry hit. So looking over here at the daily on the 10-minute. Actually, you're right, Kip. So I don't know if anyone still takes the daily entry, but the daily entry here is for a buy. Not one that I would take because it goes against the bias for today. But if you guys did take the daily entry, it did hit full TP. So if you guys are not familiar with the daily entry, K2 daily US30 entry. Basically, you're looking for an entry after New York Stock Exchange open, which is 6:30. You're confirming the overall bias. This wouldn't fit because the bias here was for a sell. So I wouldn't have taken it. But if you guys were to skip this step, because this wasn't an original step, this actually was not a step before. We just added it later. You're just looking for the first valid K2 momentum signal. So it would have been this one right here. Super risky entry, not one that I would take, but if you were to take it, that would be the daily entry for you. You pretty much ride it for 1,500 pips. You let it run, and there you go, full TP for whoever caught it. And price is still climbing. It's crazy. Maddie said maybe Steven was losing the last couple of weeks because you stopped using the horns. I know we got to bring the horns back just for Steven. Yeah, Steven said, man, what a terrible week. There hasn't been a bias. So on Monday, it was a holiday. We didn't really trade on Monday. On Tuesday, there Tuesday was yesterday. Yeah. So Tuesday there wasn't any bias, so we couldn't take a trade. Today we had a bias, but price went opposite because Powell is speaking. So yeah, hopefully it does smoothen out by tomorrow. Let me check the news for tomorrow to see if there's anything coming up. We have unemployment claims. So tomorrow at 5:30, we have unemployment claims, current account, flash manufacturing PMI, flash services PMI. But then Powell speaks again. So we have all this bad news that's going to come tomorrow. Unemployment claims are going to be high. I could already expect that. Inflation is going to be up as well. But then Powell speaks at 7 o'clock. I wonder what that would be like. But we'll see. All right, guys, it's 7:38 right now. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put it in the chat. Looks like a lot of you guys are starting to step off the live because it's just, there isn't anything for us to take right now. And I don't recommend anyone take any buys. The only thing we have right now are buys. I mean, technically, if you wanted to take some buys, you could, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's too, it's just bound to drop. I mean, you guys can just see how far price is pushed up and all the liquidity sitting down here. Just imagine when price gets back down here. There is all of this liquidity here that needs to be hit. Nice. Yeah, Steven said he made 500 bucks. So his daily goal is 500 bucks. Nice work, Steven. So now that you hit your goal, I think you should be good for the most part. I wouldn't recommend forcing anything, especially right now. Let's see. Kevin said price is taking out all liquidity that was created on June 16th. Yeah, I can see it right here. Right, June 16th, but yeah, basically. There's probably liquidity that was sitting over here on this area. And it also retested it right here, the one that was from the 21st yesterday. There's news tomorrow, Steven. So tomorrow is going to be a bit more of a regular day. It's not Powell speaking, there's just news, but it is going to be unemployment news and inflation news. So I think tomorrow will be moving a bit smoother up until 7 o'clock when Powell speaks. But other than that, we don't really have much before that, Steven. So tomorrow on Thursday, we have unemployment news pre-market. It comes up at 5:30. And then 6:45, we have flash manufacturing PMI. It's going to be the inflation news. And then Powell speaks again at 7. And then we have natural gas storage at 7:30. So tomorrow we might be able to take a breakout if it provides, you know, a decent entry. But I think overall, it's still going to be a bit of a risky time to take certain entries. Yeah, you should probably just call it a day, Steven. If you hit your profit goal, you should probably just call it a day. Patrick over here, it looks like he was waiting for those sells, locked in a couple of sells right here. All wins, no losses. Total profit of 4,166 for the day. So nice work, Patrick. Maddie over here as well. Maddie locked in a total of 512 off this account. Locked in a total of 1,024 off this account right here. Nice work, Maddie. All right, Steven. Yeah. Steven said 500 a day seems easier to get. I'll be back tomorrow. Definitely, Steven. We'll see you then. See what else I'm missing over here. All right, a couple more profits here from CSUK. Nice work, CSUK. Just copy them over. Solid. All right, so some profit here by CSUK. CSUK currently is up, or here's the process. He was up 14K right here off this account, and then he went up to 17. Now he's up 19. So up 19,800 for the day. Nice work, CSUK. Other than that, there's nothing for us to take right now. So it looks like price is starting to, slowly make its way down. This is the 1 minute chart. Solid. Here's the 10-minute chart. Not really much. Hmm. Yeah, personally, I don't really see anything, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. It's 7:43 right now, so we're sitting close to 8. If we don't see anything come up anytime soon, we'll probably just wrap this up. I don't want anyone to force any trade, so I think it's best to just close this out rather than try to force a sell here. The problem with this right here is we could stay on longer, but the issue with that is that the next Fed chairs are going to speak. So even though Powell is, well, he's not even done, not even close to being done yet. As he continues to speak, as soon as he's done, or it might even overlap with him, we have the next Fed chair Evans speaking as well. You also have the 2-year FRN auction, which is low impact, but for the most part, we have the rest of the Fed members speaking later today. So even if you were looking for an entry at this point or at some point in the near future, you would still get caught in possible manipulation. Fundamentals are now up, so there's no bias right now. Retail sentiment is currently 61% long. So definitely not a good time to enter any trades. Question from Denzel. Denzel is asking, just confirming, could mark liquidity on the higher time frames and take them on the 1 minute or take them? Yeah, so you can put them on any time frame, Denzel. So like, for example, here on the 1 minute, you can see that we have liquidity here on the 1 minute, but you can see there's other levels right here. So what I typically do, and I'll probably make a video for this so that you guys could remember this. Basically, whenever I mark up liquidity, I start on the higher time frames. So for the 1 minute, marking K2 liquidity, creating on 1 minute time frame. From the 1 hour time frame. Trading on 10-minute time frame. So basically right here, so and you can go higher if you want. It's just the 1 hour is like far enough because you can see where price is currently at. If you go to the 1 hour, you'll have liquidity covering both directions. So I mean, if you really want to overkill it, you can go higher, but there's just like no point because right here on the 1 hour, you already have like all this liquidity built up on both ends, right? So price is currently right here. And you can see that you'll have a lot of liquidity here to identify already. So you don't have to go in any higher time frames. So if I'm trading on the 1 minute, I typically go to the 1 hour and I'll mark up liquidity from here. No liquidity marked up. And then I'll go halfway down. So if I'm on the 1 hour, the next halfway mark is going to be the 30-minute. So I go to the 30-minute and then I just mark everything up. I mean, everything's already marked up because everything falls within it, aside from this one right here. Everything falls within the 1 hour. I go half of that, 15-minute. You can see this liquidity here is already pretty much marked up. 10-minute. You can see there's more areas of liquidity down here. 5-minute. And if you really wanted to go down to like 3-minute, you could. I think it's like not really necessary. Just go down to the 1 minute. And there we go. So that's basically how I do it. This is so that you'll have you won't have any like dead spots, like spots where there could possibly be liquidity, but on the higher time frame. So there's no dead spots here. I have pretty much all liquidity here marked up for the most part. Oops. There's liquidity right here, and it already hit my TP. That happened too quick. I saw this liquidity area right here. Thanks, Maddie, for letting me know. I literally entered it. It went straight to my TP already. So this is the liquidity that Maddie was referring to. I don't know how that happened, but it literally filled in my TP already. Yeah, it was big. I think the spread was wide, and I just caught it at a good time when price kind of retraced up a little bit. Like, I don't know how that happened. It filled and then it hit my TP already. So I might have caught it when it retraced up a little bit, like right here. Because as soon as I entered it, like a few seconds later, it already hit my TP. But yeah, the space here is kind of big. So I FOMO'd into that. I always try to tell you guys not to FOMO into trades, but you guys can see here that even myself, I still FOMO into trades if I see something that I think is or should be good. So what I see here is, even though this is probably not the best entry, there is another area of liquidity that's building below it. So right there. Solid profit. So it's quick. But yeah, guys, now that we have price kind of drop down a little bit, there's another area of liquidity right here. So again, at this point, possible. The only reason I know price is coming down is because we've been waiting for this price to come down for a while now. It's not like this is just a random, we're not like, oh, price is going to drop. We literally been waiting for it to come back down. So it's trying to drop down a little bit more. There's another area of liquidity right here. And this is why it's important that you guys understand and are familiar with the strategy, so that you don't have to be confused and you don't know, and you don't miss any entries. Like, for example, right here, I wouldn't have spotted that unless Maddie told me, because I was busy going over questions. But since Maddie mentioned it, I saw it, I hopped in real quick, took my quick 100 pips and pulled out. The space was too big though, so that technically was not a good liquidity push to be taking. But we all make mistakes. We all get lucky making mistakes sometimes. And luckily that worked out in my favor. So other than that, guys, I think that's about it. Unless you guys have any other questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. It is 7:50 right now. Just taking that FOMO trade right there kind of gave me a heads up, like, hey, I should probably just step off the charts, because I'm going to keep trying to take more FOMO trades if I stay on here. So if you guys have any questions, put your questions in the chat. Otherwise, I think this would probably be a good time to call it a day. I don't think you guys should be risking any trades here unless you see something really good. Because the next area here, well, I mean, our target is still going to be the same. I still see a correction come down to here. But the one thing that you want to be careful for is Powell is still speaking, for one. And for two, we have the other Fed chairs speaking right after. So it's not like the manipulation is done for the day. The manipulation is going to keep pushing. And it just depends on how lucky you might get if you take something during their speaking. So other than that, I think we might be wrapping it up, guys. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put your questions in the Telegram, or feel free to email me if you want to speak with me directly. But I think for today, I think you guys should probably sit out the rest of the day. I made my profit for the day, but I could have easily lost that trade there. So just keeping myself in check, I think I should probably get off the charts as well. Maddie said the manipulation is just getting started for the day. Yeah, and I agree too, Maddie, because we do have the other chairs, Fed chairs, speaking right after. So he's still speaking right now. He's probably going to go on. He's been speaking for over an hour now, over an hour and a half. He's probably going to keep speaking for maybe another 30 minutes to an hour. As soon as he's done, Powell, we have Fed Chair Evans speaking in about an hour 50. So it's just the beginning of a manipulated day, but I do see a correction happening at some point. So, all right, guys, I think we'll be wrapping it up. So if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, there was no official trades taken today. The profit that I just made right there, it's not going to count. I'm not counting that or even showing it to you guys because that was just a liquidity push that I took. And you guys heard the click. I forgot my computer was not muted. So I took the trade right away without really thinking or analyzing it. Thankfully, it did hit my TP, but that trade is not going to count. So no official trades today. And I don't think there was an official trade yesterday either. Yeah, so no official trades this week so far. It's a holiday week plus just a lot of heavy news. So hopefully by tomorrow we'll be able to take something. There is another area of liquidity right here that Maddie just referred to, the one that I was just talking about as well. So this might be one that I'll be looking for, but it looks like the volatility has died down quite a bit. Market is like barely moving now. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will be back here tomorrow, same time, same place as we take on the market for Thursday, June 23rd. Hopefully we'll have a bias by tomorrow. That's actually moving that direction. Currently right now, fundamentals are still up slightly in the green. Just keep this in mind, guys. If price ends up dropping to this point right here, to these sessions, expect this to turn back to red. So if this turns back to red, keep in mind that the sentiment is still currently 60% long. So price can easily make its way back down. It's just going to be a matter of time. So other than that, guys, I will catch you guys tomorrow. If you guys have questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, be back here tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. for New York Stock Exchange open. So see you guys and have a great rest of your day. If you guys don't have to trade, just hold off. I'd probably just hold off